You've been working for months, maybe years, pouring everything you have into something you believe in, and nothing is happening, no results, no recognition, no breakthrough, so you start to wonder, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe the universe is telling me to stop. What if the moment you quit is the moment everything was about to change? Because here's what psychology has discovered, and it's disturbing. Your brain cannot see the invisible progress happening inside you. Research shows that 99% of people give up right before their breakthrough, not because they failed, but because their minds couldn't perceive how close they were. There's a phenomenon called the OK Plateau where 80% of the population simply stops growing, levels off, and never improves again. Meanwhile, the top 10% keep pushing through the darkness. The last mile is always the darkest. Today, we're going to rewire how you understand success, failure, and that terrifying moment right before everything changes. The invisible wall. Imagine you're pushing against a massive wall. You've been pushing for weeks, months, maybe years. Your muscles are burning, your spirit is breaking, and the wall hasn't moved an inch. So what do you conclude? That you're weak, that the wall is immovable, that you should find a different path? Wrong. What you can't see is that the wall has been cracking from the inside this entire time. Microfractures spreading through its foundation, each push weakening its structure invisibly. Neuroscience calls this phenomenon neural pathway formation. When you're learning something new, practicing a skill, or building toward a goal, your brain is literally rewiring itself at the cellular level. New connections are forming between neurons. Myelin sheaths are thickening around neural pathways, making them faster and more efficient. Work, nothing. But here's the cruel part, you feel nothing. There's no feedback mechanism that tells you, congratulations, you're 73% of the way to your breakthrough. Your conscious mind has no access to this invisible progress. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. And so most people interpret absence of visible results as absence of progress. They quit, 3 feet from gold. But what if you could learn to trust the process you cannot see? The OK Plateau. In the 1960s, psychologists Paul Fitz and Michael Posner discovered something that explains why most people never reach their potential. They identified 3 stages of skill acquisition. First, the cognitive stage, you're learning, making mistakes, actively thinking about what you're doing. Second, the associative stage, you're getting better, movements become smoother, you need less conscious effort. And then, the autonomous stage. This is where 80% of humanity gets trapped forever. At this stage, you can perform the skill on autopilot, driving a car, typing on a keyboard, playing guitar. Your performance becomes good enough. And your brain, that energy-conserving machine, decides, mission accomplished, no more improvement needed. Psychologist Anders Ericsson called this the OK Plateau. You rise, you plateau, and unless you deliberately push through, you flatline. The terrifying truth. Most people reach their OK Plateau in their 20s and never grow again. Not because they can't, because they stop trying. Meanwhile, the top 10%, the masters, the experts, the legends, they learn to do something different. They learn to stay uncomfortable. They practice deliberately. They seek feedback that hurts. Now that you understand this trap, hit like and subscribe to keep exploring the depths of your psyche with me. There's so much more to uncover about breaking free from mediocrity. The paradox of easy. Here's the most counterintuitive truth about success that nobody tells you. Easy goals are hardest. Think about it. When you aim for something realistic, a stable job, a comfortable salary, a conventional path, you're competing with everyone. Millions of people want the same safe option. The competition is fierce. The opportunities are scarce. The energy required to stand out is exhausting. But when you aim for something audacious, something that most people dismiss as impossible, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. The competition drops dramatically because 99% of people are too afraid to even try. They've convinced themselves they're not capable of great things, so they fight each other for mediocre. Psychology calls this competitive density. The more people pursuing the same goal, the more energy you waste on competition rather than creation. The biggest risk is aiming too low and achieving it. Here's what the top 1% understand. Extraordinary goals often require the same effort as ordinary ones, but with a fraction of the competition. The energy you'd spend fighting for scraps could be invested in building something remarkable. So ask yourself honestly, are you aiming low because it's smart or because you're afraid? The dips of growth. Seth Godin wrote about something he called the dip, that long, brutal stretch between starting something and mastering it. Every worthy pursuit has one, and almost everyone quits in the middle of it. The dip is where your initial enthusiasm dies, where the early gains disappear, where progress becomes invisible and effort feels pointless. It's designed to make you quit. Evolution created this mechanism to conserve energy. Your ancient brain whispers, "This isn't working, find an easier path, stop wasting resources." But here's what your brain doesn't understand about the modern world. The dip is the filter. It separates those who want something from those who will do whatever it takes. Every successful person you admire didn't avoid the dip, they survived it. They pushed through when everything inside them screamed to stop. Pain is temporary victory. And crucially, they understood that the dip is not a sign that you're failing. The dip is the work. The discomfort is the growth. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. So when you're in the dip, don't interpret it as evidence that you should quit. Interpret it as evidence that you're exactly where you need to be. What separates winners from losers isn't talent. It's their relationship with the dip. Neurological lies. Your brain is lying to you. Not maliciously, it evolved this way to keep you safe. But in the pursuit of meaningful goals, these lies become sabotage. Deception. The first lie, progress should feel like progress. Your brain expects feedback, dopamine hits, visible results. When the work is internal, when your neural pathways are strengthening, when your understanding is deepening, when your skills are crystallizing below the surface, your brain interprets this absence of feedback as failure. The second lie, if it was meant to be, it would be easier. This is the myth of natural talent. We mistake the absence of struggle for the presence of destiny, but research shows that mastery always involves a period of feeling incompetent. The experts simply stayed longer in the discomfort. Struggle means growth. The third lie, other people aren't struggling like this. Social media shows you highlights. Success stories skip the darkness. You compare your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. Comparison is the thief of joy, and you conclude that something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. Your brain is simply not designed to perceive invisible transformation. But now that you know the lies, you can stop believing them. The threshold effect. Scientists studying phase transitions discovered something fascinating. Water doesn't gradually become ice. It stays liquid at 33 degrees, 32 degrees, 31 degrees. And then suddenly, at 32 degrees F, it transforms. The change appears instant, but it's not. Energy was being stored the entire time. Molecular structures were reorganizing invisibly. The system was preparing for transformation. Your breakthroughs work the same way. The threshold effect explains why success looks sudden from the outside. You work and work and work. Nothing visible happens. Your neural pathways are strengthening. Your understanding is deepening. Your skills are crystallizing. And then, threshold crossed, everything changes at once. Sudden success took years. Overnight success usually takes about 10 years. People see the breakthrough. They don't see the thousands of hours of invisible preparation. And here's the tragedy. Most people quit right before they hit their threshold. They're at 31 degrees, 1 degree away from transformation. But because they can't see how close they are, they give up. You might be one push away from everything changing. The question is, will you be there when it happens? Or will you quit and let someone else claim what was meant to be yours? Identity before outcome. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, identified the deepest layer of change. Identity drives behavior. Most people focus on outcomes. I want to lose weight, I want to be rich, I want to be successful. But outcomes are the last thing to change. Beneath outcomes are behaviors, and beneath behaviors is identity, who you believe you are. If you identify as someone who always quits, you'll find a way to quit. Your brain will manufacture reasons. It will interpret challenges as signs you should stop. It will protect your self-image at all costs. Rewrite. But if you shift your identity first, if you become someone who persists through the dip, someone who trusts invisible progress, someone who finishes, your behaviors change automatically. We do not rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Every time you push through when you want to quit, you're casting a vote for your new identity. You don't have to be someone who quits anymore. The moment you decide to see yourself differently, everything downstream begins to shift. Your story isn't written yet, but every day you're choosing who writes the ending. The hardship paradox. Viktor Frankl survived the Nazi concentration camps. He lost everything: his family, his freedom, his manuscript that represented years of work. And from that darkness, he discovered something that would change psychology forever. Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. Meaning transforms suffering. The same pressure that crushes coal creates diamonds. The same hardship that destroys some people forges others into legends. What's the difference? Not the circumstances, the interpretation. Your hardships will either be the reason you don't make it, or the story you tell when you do. Same pain, different outcome. Right now, you're in the middle of your story. The struggles feel meaningless. The obstacles feel random. The setbacks feel like proof that you should quit. But imagine yourself 10 years from now having achieved what you're working toward. Every hardship becomes a chapter in your victory story. The failures become lessons. The rejections become redirection. The dark nights become the contrast that makes your success shine brighter. Your pain is being converted into power right now. You just can't see it yet. But the question remains, will you stay long enough to tell that story? The compound effect. Einstein reportedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. But compound interest isn't just about money, it's about everything. Small actions compound exponentially. 1% better every day seems insignificant. But mathematically, 1% improvement daily means you'll be 37 times better after 1 year. Not 365% better, 37 times better. The problem is that compound growth is invisible at first. In the beginning, 1% of almost nothing is almost nothing. You improve, but you can't perceive it. You're in the accumulation phase. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Then one day, seemingly out of nowhere, the curve goes vertical. The overnight success that took 10 years. The breakthrough that nobody saw coming except those who understood compound growth. A tree grows for years underground before it breaks the surface. But once it does, the growth becomes visible and rapid. Patience. You're in your underground phase. Your roots are spreading. Your foundation is strengthening. The surface world can't see it yet. The growth is happening even when you cannot see it. Trust the compound effect. It's working even now, especially now, because every day you continue is another day of exponential accumulation. The final choice. You now understand what 99% of people never will. Progress is invisible until breakthrough. You understand that your brain lies about how close you are. You understand that the dip is designed to filter out the uncommitted. You understand that your hardships are being transformed into your story, one way or another. The only question left is what you will do with this knowledge. Tomorrow you will wake up and face the same challenges, the same invisible progress, the same absence of immediate results, the same voice whispering that maybe you should try something easier. And in that moment, you will have a choice. Quit like the 99% or persist like the legends. Not a choice that's made once, but a choice that's made every day, every hour, every moment you feel like giving up. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. The people who achieve extraordinary things aren't extraordinary people. They are ordinary people who made an extraordinary choice, again and again and again. One door leads to the life you've always lived. The other leads to the person you were meant to become. Every single day, you choose which door to walk through. So here's the truth you need to carry with you. Right now, Somewhere in the world, someone with less talent, fewer resources, and more obstacles than you is achieving what you want, simply because they refuse to quit. Persistence beats talent, not because they're special, because they understand what you now understand. The breakthrough is invisible until it's not. The progress is happening even when you can't see it, and the only true failure is walking away before the transformation is complete. It always seems impossible until it's done. Your neural pathways are rewiring right now. Your threshold is approaching. Your compound growth is accumulating. The question is not if you'll break through, it's whether you'll still be there when it happens. If you made it this far, comment one more day if you're committing to stay in the game one more day. And then another. And then another. Because that's all success ever was, a series of days where someone chose not to quit. You are closer than you think to everything you've been working for. Welcome to the Psyche Project. If this changed how you see your struggle, hit subscribe. Understanding yourself is the work of a lifetime.